All right, truth seekers, what's going on? It's Tuesday night here at Forbidden Knowledge TV. I'm Roderick Martin of Forbidden Knowledge Podcast. I'm Roderick Martin, the host of Truth versus Authority podcast. Now, I'm going to get right into this reptilian thing. So if you're ready, I'm going to get started right now, because what I want you to know is that you were born into a prison that you can't see. We're talking about a world turned upside down. We're talking about its bars or the beliefs that you were taught to cherish. Its walls are the history that you were told to trust. And its wardens are not human people. They call this hijacking reality civilization. They call the spiritual slavery faith. We call it by its true name, the reptilian inversion. Now, what I want to get into is that an ancient parasitic code that rewrote our past, that suffocates our present, and has already built the cage for our future. It thrives into the shadows of the most sacred institutions, wearing the faces of authority, of righteousness, of God. But every program can be decoded, and it really can, and every mask can be shattered, and it will. And tonight, we don't just challenge the narrative, we expose the reptilian rule. All right, so I just want to thank you for being here tonight. You could have been any other place tonight. You chose to be right here, right now. With that being said, I'm going to serve you as a servant leader. The official history that I'm talking about tells about a simple story. Over 7,000 years ago, humanity, experienced an implacable leap forward. In the Fertile Crescents of Mesopotamia, and we're talking about scattered tribes, suddenly coalesced into some complex society just overnight. Written language, advanced mathematics, and also sophisticated understanding of astronomy appeared as if it just came out of nowhere. Now, this explosion of culture is called the dawn of civilization. Now, as you know, if you've been here before, I have a virtual grammar box sitting over here. And that box is for those of you who says, Roderick, you mispronounced that or whatever. You go in there, and wherever you hear me say, because you're going to really understand it, you're going to know how your conscience works. But you have the authority and autonomy to go in here and correct it. Now, you got to do it in a chat. Then we know your ego is not working. But if you understood it, then your consciousness is working. You're in the right place at the right time. I got a virtual spelling box over here, unlimited cosmic letters to the, the value of unobtainium. You can get as many letters you want. If you see anything misspelled, charge it to that and not the heart. But anyway, we're here together. So once again, let me get back on track. The official history is haunted by a single persistent image, everybody. And that image is of the serpent, okay? Now, we want to go back from the sands of Egypt to the jungles of Mesoamerica, and also to the historical record of the world. That's all I'm going to say, because you got to think about it. The first gods were not what we consider a nebulous sky fathers or abstract principles. If you start looking into our history, they were described, if you start thinking about it, as a powerful, wise, serpentine beings who descended from the heavens. And they were called the shiny ones, beings of fire and light who walked among men. Now, this is not a simple animal worship that we're talking about here. It's the activation of what the psychologists Carl Jung called primordial archetypes, a deep universal pattern embedded in the human collective unconscious. Now, the serpent or dragon is one of the oldest out there. It's a dual symbol representing the terrifying darkness of the abyss on one hand, if you start looking it up, and the potential for divine wisdom and healing on the other hand. Now, we can go into mainstream narrative. This dismisses these accounts as primitive myth, allegories of the sun, maybe the rivers, or changing of the seasons. We hear this all the time, but this dismissal fails to address what I call the starting consistency of the details that's been left behind. Details of the global cataclysms that we call the Great Flood, details of direct engineering or genetic engineering of human race, and most critically, details of sacred hybrid bloodlines created to rule humanity in the gods, without them being here. But you got to remember something. They're still here. This is what we're talking about. They're still here. Now, to truly understand what happened at what I would consider the dawn of time, we must look beyond the ancient narrative. We must learn to read the language of the shining ones that they left behind. And you hear me tell you all the time, your eyes are useless when your mind is blind. So you need to go with that right now, for those of us and anybody, right? So I want you to understand that the myth, the language of symbols, myth, and bloodlines that tells these stories far older and more alien than we have ever been told. It really have. And so real quickly, I just want to say some things to you and let you know real quickly, and I got to do some house cleaning, if you all would know, in a good way, so to speak. All right, so as you know, we have been doing our Truth versus Authority gatherings. Now it has turned to Truth versus Authority, knowledge beyond reality events. But real quickly, we do have sponsors there, all right? And one of the sponsors is Phoenix Phire. So you're going to be able to get, and I've already did it in her salts, bath salts, soaps, energy, a lot of stuff. You go to this website, it's in the description, phoenixfirejuju.com, and get you some stuff. And I'm standing behind it. I got a lot of good shadow soaps and a lot of things that we have done. So this is a great website. So make sure you go check that out. Also, you got noble metals if you into metallic gold and silver drops and everything else. They're one of our sponsors as well. And then we have the greatness of Fresh Mouth. And we're talking nano silver toothpaste, okay? And if you've been to Forbidden Knowledge Conscious Awards, you would have seen they had a booth there. But anyway, most importantly, real quickly, I have a birthday wish that I need for you to do. There's a young lady who is just so grand, and I just love her to death. And it's her birthday, and she's turning, I think, 10 or 11. And she has an Amazon list and just a few items there. And I want our group to go and let's make her birthday wishes come true. And I'm going to show you a quick little video. I told her just in case to make so that you can see. And then I'm going to get into some deep stuff for you guys that is incredible. So here's a quick video.
Thank y'all for making
my birthday. No, you gotta speak louder than that, though.
Thank you for making my birthday wish come true. For my birthday wish, I hope it's gonna be full.
All right.
All right, so I love her to death. This girl is just so amazing. Her mom is part of our stuff, our team, and just different things, man. But I love this girl to death, and she has a birthday wish. And go look, the link is in the description. But here's what I'm going to do. If you buy anything off that list, I'm going to put my email, contact@WhyTheBigSecret.com up here, and I want you to definitely send me the copy of it. And because it ain't but like 9 or 10 items, let's just clear this list off. Send me a copy of it that you've done it. And then I want you to go to my website, pick any shirt, any size. I don't care if it's $30, $40, whatever it is. When you email me the receipt with your telephone number, I'll get your shipping address and we'll work out the shipping, maybe $4 or $5 to help me ship it out. And I'll give you a shirt. Some of this stuff is $9. I got shirts $50. Okay. So I want you to do this if you can. The link is in the description. Go ahead. It ain't but 10 or 15 items, and some are $9, some are $30. Nothing is really high. This is just toys for a kid. So anyway, I know you can do it. I know we can do it, and give her the best birthday ever. And let's get going. And again, make sure you screenshot this. When you do it, send me an email copy, because once you do it, stuff will just pop off the list, right? So it's first come, but I know we can do this. But anyway, so let's get back into the video information that we're talking about, okay? And let's just go where we are, all right? So the thing is this, and I'm saying this, the archetypes of our world did not leave a written confession. They left a code. They left a visual language of power embedded in the most sacred artifacts, ancient history, waiting to be deciphered. Now, separately, there is a lot of curiosities here, and together they're the blueprint. So I want you to kind of think about this as we go deep. See, I used to see these as just mythology back in the day. So we'll start with the Ankh of Egypt, the coiled serpent of Gnostics, the tile cross of Celtic Druids, right? But when you pull them together, they're approved historical boxes, and you place them side by side, you can't help but ask the dangerous question. Are they all telling the same secret when you really start looking at this, okay? So I want you to consider the Ankh for a minute, and I'm going to go deeper later on here. But we are told that it's the symbol of life. but it's the components reveal a function, not a concept. See, the base is the tau cross, right? T-A-U or T-A-U, and it's a symbol of Druids that venerated by scrawling into the tree bark to honor the serpent. Now, the Freemasons know it as the clavis, the therium, right? Or Thetharianism, right? The key to the treasure. The loop on the top, the oval, known as the rule, means quickly or simply the gateway to another world. This isn't a symbol of abstract life or nothing. It is a key, right? And I think a lot of people don't understand that. It's the systematic, it's the mark of Cain, the symbol of ancient invaders. And oftentimes we try to say, okay, that's fine. It can be as it moved forward to the representation of the female, right? Or whatever. But a key is useless if you don't know the language of the lock. And I realized that the symbols were only half the code. See, the other half was hidden in the very names of their gods, the words that they use for power, the language of the serpent itself. And I'm going to go into it because I'm glad you asked. See, the serpent worshipers of Moses' time were known as the Hivites, right? The Hivites, or Hivites, if you want to do the spelling. But the name derived from Hivia, the serpent, which is also the root of Eve. Now, Hivia, H-I-V-I-A, just to be explicit for you, its concepts connects to, I think it's Arabic or Arabian Arabic. That's what it was. So I know it goes back to the Arabic times. And I think but the root word means life and serpent, right? It means life and serpent. So, so it's Arabic. So what we want to do is, when you think about it, the serpent god was also known as Baal, B-A-A-L, right? And Baal is the abbreviation for A-B-L, which literally is the serpent god of or I can say more accurately, the shining serpent. Now, the shining serpent aspect of this is really critical, and it's probably one of the biggest clues out there. And for the ancients, the serpent was not a creature of the earth, but being of fire in the sky. So we definitely want to make sure that that's something that we pay attention on. Now, let's go into even Credo Muchwa, the shaman of Zulu back in the day or whatever. He's gone now. But he talks about the shining ones too, which is the lights in the sky. That's what they called them at the time. And so my question is, does that sound like a primitive nature myth to you? Because it did to me. Or does it sound like a perfect eyewitness description of what we now call a UFO? And this isn't just a god, it's technology. And if you want to go all the way back to some ancestors that was my color, and when they was out in the slave fields and they was out there singing, and you got to remember, this song was done way before airplanes was invented, okay? And it goes a little something like, swing low, sweet chariot, come and take me home. And you got to remember, they're out there in the fields and they're seeing this and singing whatever it is, swing low down here, this chariot. Because if you go back to history, there was a book called Chariots of the Gods, which was one of the main books even in the 1900s, which explained about UFOs. So obviously they were seeing something. When I looked over to Jordan, what did I see? Angels coming for me? Because we know UFOs came out of water at that time for sure. I'm just saying. Right. And it's worth us noting that it's a possibility. OK, so this concept of technological gateway is preserved in another artifact. If I want to think about it, we're talking about the Opolis, which is found in India to Greece. It is the stone spear marked with the coral serpent to the Apollos or Upalus or whatever you want to call them, was literally the route to another world. That's what they say. And it was placed in a trench called the Mundus at the very center of their cities. Now, the most famous of these sites is the Delphi, right? The home of the serpent oracle, which is the Pythoness, if you start looking at that. So, and again, you got my grammar box, so you know what to do. You understand. But academics call it all navel stone, a metaphor for the center of the world. But what if it's not a metaphor? What if it's the remnant? What if it's a piece of hardware, or I should say like a homing beacon, right? You know, the anchor point for a portal the serpent race used to travel between two worlds, right? It's worth thinking about. It's something to really put our minds to at this point, because it is what it is, you know, once it goes that route. All right. So anyway, the entire system of control is what I consider it represent the umbrus, right? That one that goes all the way around connecting the serpent devouring his own tail. See, if you go back to a Babylonian tradition, this was the Leviathan, the great serpent who encircled the world. His motto is, my end is the beginning. Now, words later attributed to Christ, right? Who himself was called the God serpent, if you go look that up, and by very Gnostics who wrote the New Testament. Now, we're going into this now. I know you just came from church a couple of days ago. So, all right, welcome. And this is the inversion that I've been talking about, the whole thing right there. The umbrus isn't a symbol of eternity. It's the diagram of the prison wall. And my end is my beginning. Isn't it a promise of earth, right? Is it the program of the soul trap that we be talking about? A closed loop of reincarnation designed to feed the serpent race, right? So just let us go into that. Let us go into those things, and we can say that, Now, finally, we're talking about the serpentine duality here. Is encoded in the what's that matter? The caduceus, right? Is carried by the goddess Tanit, right? The serpent lady of Carthage. In fact, is a little bit on this book here. Now, it's the emblem of the archetype Mercury, if you start looking deeply, right? Popular culture mistakes this symbol for healing. Its true meaning is that of the trickster, which you're going to get into it, and the psychopomp, the guide of the souls into the underworld. And like I say, you can see it. Right now, you should be seeing, do you see the pattern? It's a global network. The Ankh is the key. The Umbros is the system. The caduceus is the guide. The Omphalos is the machine. It's a unified infrastructure of control hidden behind the mask of 1,000 different gods. And once you see the network, you can finally understand who is the true rulers of this world and who they were. I just want you to know it is possible. It is very possible when it gets down to this. So I thought I had it figured out. I really did. I was like, okay, let's do this. But before we do this, let me look in some chats and just kind of see what we got. All right. So anyway, great to know you guys are there doing what you're doing. But listen really closely. As you know, I mentioned at the first beginning that we are in Dallas. So anyway, just kind of let you know, we have changed our groups into more of a truth versus authority, knowledge beyond reality events. And I was just going to give you a quick rundown. If you're in Dallas area, in November the 20th, Brother Joseph, the 22nd, that Saturday, is going to be up in Dallas speaking. So we're going to have a VIP dinner that night, Friday night, and then Saturday he's going to do a lecture, and then, I'm going to do some speaking, but he's going to be there. So if you're in Dallas, get your tickets, come to the event, and check us out. If you're also in Dallas that very next month, we're going to have Doc B in town. He's going to be talking. We're going to do a private one-on-one dinner. Those tickets are limited as well. You can come to Dallas, but you can go get your ticket. And then he's going to do two things. He's doing a lecture and a workshop that Saturday. So one, he'll bring it and do an immersive thing. You can kind of do that. In January, I don't have the date. Billy will be in town. Billy Carson, as y'all know. So he'll probably be in town. He's going to do one there. And then in February, we'll have King Simon on Valentine's Day giving you numerology of love. So you can get those numbers right, and you can pretty much do that. And then in March, I think we'll have my sister Yaya. Y'all seen Yaya World on Instagram. She'll be in town. And then in April, I think Billy will be back. And then Erin Lyons, if y'all know who that is, she's going to be in town too. So every month we're going to have, so I just called all my friends and I said, we're building this truth thing here in Dallas. Anyway, there is a link in the website down here, truthversusauthority.com. You can go there, look at events, and it'll take you to those events, and you're welcome to book you, whatever, any one of these events. Just remember all of the dinner nights where you're meeting them in person. It's only 10 spots for that, okay? And some of them, I mentioned it yesterday, they're already being sold in a couple of cases, but Brother Joseph will be here. Now, we are doing I'll be speaking, which is it's a free event on October the 25th, which is next week, and you can register for that. It's free and everything else. But after that, you see our speakers, because we got to support them, bring them in town, give them lodge, food, and all that good stuff. We can do it. All right, so let me get back to the story. so that we can continue. And I hope some of you who's in this area or not, you can fly down, you see the schedules and come and meet some of it. And it's a small setting, right? So you're going to get to meet these people in person, talk to them, shake hand, hugs, ask some intimate questions, because the space is limited. We're not having 50 or 60 people there. So it's one of the ones you ain't gonna ever go to where you're gonna meet these people this close. Yeah, you can be in the back of the room, but the back of the room here is 5, 6 rows and get your question answered. So I hope to see some of you there. And like I said, they're gonna be sold out really soon, especially if you coming in on that Friday and you want to go to dinner with us that night and just sit around the table and laugh for a few hours and get to know people personally. All right, so let me get back on track here. I thought I had figured it out, people. I felt clean. I was talking about a single monolithic force. That's what I thought. A unified alien agenda to engineer and control humanity. I would say a simple story of predator and prey. It was simple. It was clean. And it was completely wrong. It was very wrong, okay? So let me break it down a little more deeper for you. See, the oldest records do not speak of a unified invasion. They speak of a civil war. The original shiny ones and the transcript reveals that they established a special guardian race here on Earth, the garrison known as the Watchers. And make no mistake about it, they're still here. They're still here, and we'll get into that in a little bit, okay? I just want you to know. So they didn't go anywhere. Most people think they just left. But their purpose was to oversee the human project. But they committed a crime. They went against the plan, right? This is where the story turns. And all the myth agree at this point. The Watchers fail. The transcripts that I'm talking about that I read stated that they made it with human females and a hybrid bloodline was born. The hybrid race is known across the world folklore as the Giants. And how can I even be more deeper than that? So where I'm going is people, they're here. There are people walking around, and I'm going to share something with you momentarily. There are people walking around, and there's people you may be living with. There's people that carry these genetics, and just about everybody who's walking does. You got to remember, we were already here before. So the God, the Most High, whoever created this human species, this whatever we were at the time, right? And they came and then they altered our DNA to fit their needs to what they were doing. Because once again, for you people that are into the church and went to church Sunday 2 days ago, which is 48 hours ago to be exact. And if I want to go to how many hours, I don't know, that was 24 hours and it's 60 minutes. So what is that? Let me just put it down on the calculator because I want you to remember the time of what we're talking about here, right? And it's just me just doing what I'm doing, but 24 times 60 minutes, 24 hours, that's 14,000, I would say hours, minutes, or whatever. You get the logistics, it's not that big, it's big. But anyway, you got to remember that when Cain and told God that, hey, they're going to kill me. Now we're talking about in the garden. And he says, no, they're not. I'm going to put a mark on you. So obviously that lets you know, even when that story was created, there was somebody already out there. But wait, how can that be a crime that what I'm talking about, them going against the thing? I thought the hybrid bloodline, the royal lineage was the entire point of the invasion. And so I say to myself, how do you explain a figure like the biblical David, right? When you start thinking about the story. He's remembered as the descendant of the great giant killer. You got to remember that. But also as the descendant of the serpent elite themselves. So how can a hero be from the serpent bloodline, but also be the one who fights the monstrous offspring of that? So we got to look at the stories. We got to really think about it. So this paradox is revealed as schisms within what I call the alien ranks. A battle was fought not between the aliens and primitive man, but between two factions of the serpent race. One on one side, the loyalists, right, which is the shiny ones, seeking to maintain purity of their program. On the other side is the rogue Watchers and their hybrid offsprings who threaten to corrupt the entire experiment. But where are they at in plain sight? All right, maybe you can Google, but let me stop right here. I don't care what you say. And although I love you to care about what you think, but if you do your history on every religion, every single religion out there, no, I don't care how many you can count, you will find that every last one of them have something about serpents, dragons, python, whatever in the beginning. And you hear me stress in the beginning. Not when it was altered, not when you got a book that was had revisions or revised and has read words and it's the word of God, but then this book has been revised, have revisions 2 or 3, 5, 10, 15 times. God's word is absolute. It's omniscient. It's all known. It doesn't change. But yet we have books that people studying from that is another version. It's the King James. It's different versions. But if you go before all of that, you will find there is not one on the face of this planet, if you go looking right, that you will not find symbols, that you won't find artifacts, you won't find paintings, you won't find something about the serpent. I just want you to know that. I want you to leave here and go hunting. Because when you think about the Great Flood, then it was not a punishment for human sin. It was an act of planetary warfare or orbital bombardment, an attempt to the origins of archetypes to wipe the board clean of the rebellion that they control or no longer control, right? Or they can control it. So they was like, let's just wipe the slate. Let's do it. So the story isn't just about control. It's about fail. And someone said, how can you recognize it? Well, Ro, just hang on a minute. I'm going to tell you how. I'm glad you asked. And that's the whole point. I want you to kind of know this. See, a corruption in code. And there was a war in heaven. And if the serpent agenda itself was split in two, it raises a much more terrifying question, my friends. Which side actually won? That's what you want to know. People always say, within the war, what side you want to be on? I want to be on the side that wins, regardless. And which program are we living in now? I want you to think about it. Think about that. And so, like I said, for those of you who's going to support that young lady, I just love it. Make sure you email me, contact@WhyTheBigSecret.com that you have went and bought the items. And whatever it is, $9, I think there's 10 or whatever, I'm going to send you a shirt. Go to my website. You're going to see some great stuff. Okay. I don't care what your size is. The bigger it is, the more it costs. If you wear my size, you're going to pay, but not today. Okay. I just want you to know. All right. So the core part that we want to get into is what I call the shadow archetypes, okay? This is important for you to follow along with where I'm going with this. So how do we answer that question? Which program are we in now? And like you said, how do we recognize them? How do we find the answer? See, I had to look past the myth and past the symbols and into what I call the operating system of the human psychic itself. I had to find the source code. Yeah, there is. And when you really see this, you can't unsee it. So to decode this thing, a conflict of this magnitude, we needed what I call a key that works on a subconscious level. And this is the realm of what I call shadow archetypes, the hidden, the instinctual groups or the programs that drive civilization. They are the root commands running in the background of our reality when you start thinking about this. And for those of you, and let me point it out right now, this is my 500-page guidebook, not a book. I don't even want to use the word book. It's the guide. It's the shadows of the deception. This is kind of my sample piece that I approved when I got it. But anyway, it says how to detect the reptilian consciousness, unmasking the manipulation in media, celebrities, and in your world. Now, if you're in my audience, you already know, if you come on Mondays, that we've been talking about it and everything else. So if you already got this or haven't got this, I want you to follow along with us. For those of you who have it in this moment that we've been working toward, I've been working toward this for quite some time. And this is not a passive viewing experience. We're about to run a live decoding of two primary programs of the serpent agenda. And this is how you learn to see the code. So the first thing I would want you to do, if you got the book, and if you don't have it, when you do get it, you're going to follow along. And let me just stop using the word book, because a book, then you would think it's just something you're going to read. You're going to use this every day. So I'm going to put something on the screen so that you understand. So the very first will be the shadow architect. And this is all based upon reptilian. All right. And when you think about the shadow archetype, I want you to kind of understand there. I have it broken down in this guide that you're going to have 6 words. The light side of things is the conceptual, meticulous, systematic. But when they're in that shadow side, the same one is rigid, controlling, and obsessive. And this is them operating in the reptilian side of life. Now, we're not talking about narcissists. I got this in here, the reptilian, but everything this is based upon reptilians. All right. And then don't get me wrong. You're also going to, when you go to my website and you get all this, you're going to get your shadow guide. And you see that reptilian on there? People, this is real as it get. And then I'm letting you know, if you around, you know, I'm a UFO investigator. You know, I've been in 11 different TV shows. I've been on Forbidden Knowledge TV shows, Gaia, Ancient Aliens, the whole 9 yards. I know my reptilian stuff. Okay, I know my stuff. I'm in all, you know, History Channel, Roswell, all of the stuff. Coast to Coast Radio. I know my stuff. I've interviewed countless of people. I know stuff that a lot of people don't know. I had a secret clearance when I was 20 years old. All right. And we're talking about military contract, secret clearance. I know my stuff. I don't toot that much here, but it's time for you to know, to get real with what we're talking about here. So when you get this and you get all 3, it comes in that package. Okay. And see that cover, you know, that cover, before we get into it, is my triangle. And I put this up on the screen a lot. This is how it works. So look at this real close. It has the reptilian and the demonic forces at the top. This is how our life is structured. Then the overlords. All right. Then you have, so this is the top of this thing. That give you a picture. Then we have the overlords and all of that, which is the rulers. You got the media, president, you know, the secret societies, all of that. Then you get down into media that's controlling us. Then you got these celebrities. You already know some of these are part of the monarch mind control and the duality. You've seen the symbols of the triangle, the black checkers, and the butterflies. You've seen all of this. You just need to know the code. So anyway, it is here. Like I say, 500 pages. And you can keep this every day. You're not going to just read this and be over it. You're going to get deep. So let me keep going. First, when you turn to what I call the shadow card of, let me make sure I put this back on the screen. And so you can get your experience here. So we're talking about the shadow archetype. Let's find that. And yeah, all right. It's here. Okay. It's the shadow archetype. And I have them, I call them cards because I'll be putting some oracle stuff with you later with these. So anyway, we're talking about the light side of this, which is the light, which they're meticulous, they're systematic. They're also very rigid. Now, I'm going to read to you or go into you a little bit when it gets down to the shadow side, but this is very deep. And I'm just going to skate through this for you. And so that you know, this is the archetype of what I call the original shiny ones. All right. This is the program that speaks to you through institutions, through traditions, through the promise of perfectly ordered smart cities, the future. It masks in what I call the light archetype, a visionary of order, crafting blueprints that promise stability and advancement for all. So when you start reading the headlines and you go through this, and in here I have every shadow tied to how they operate, which is the businesses, and the systems, which is urban designs, different places. I have where I'm giving you conspiracies that happened in the past, different ones to tie everything from the patriarch. Every shadow I have dissected for you that you will know who, what, and who they are. And don't let me tell you that if you're in a relationship with somebody and they operate in that shadow of that reptilian stuff, I already have the language you need to listen for, the things that they're going to say when they're doing this. And I showed some people this past weekend, and they was like, oh man, I got to stop doing that to my wife. But he don't really know. I didn't want to tell him all about the reptilian stuff, because you got to remember that DNA is everywhere. It's everywhere. And so we just can't ignore it. But you felt this shadow. I'm telling you, you felt the cold, sterile perfection. You felt the career path that promised success, but delivered a gilded cage. The rules that promise security, but strangled your soul. This is the architect's shadow that I'm talking about. This guide exposes its human agenda right off the bat. And this is what it's going to continue to do. Because when you unveil this shadow, this archetype or architect, shadow architect, operates from the need to impose what I call rigid control and quell chaos, driven by obsession, fear, and disorder. This is not the narcissist that you're talking about. This is a little more refined. They're system-wide, they're appealing logical every time they present stuff to us, and beneficials are designed to eliminate freedom under the disguise of perfection. People, they control us through the financial system. They control us through all of the stuff, the loosh. We are loosh. We're energy, the harvested energy. This is why when you get my stuff, you see that reptilian there? This is all about the solar plex. And I know you might, okay, I know about my chakra, but did you know that all the reptilian parasites, even people that see auras, they connect only to your chakra. And it is the solar plex chakra. That's how, when you see people say how they own behind them like puppets and all that, they connect to it, because this is the one chakra that is very so important. But you see, I got this lady with the shield around her. Well, this is going to help you. So between the three of these, that you go to my website, truthversusauthority.com, and don't go, because some of you don't even know it's happening to you because it's normal. You don't know. And some people don't care. That's fine. So anyway, let me continue. See, the true agenda is to create a world where every action is predictable. This is why we got all this stuff. Resentful of any deviation from their design, or NPCs, or what most people say, right? It started with human fear of the unknown, but that fear is the back door. It's the vulnerability of the reptilian agenda that exploits and installs their true program. This is the source code, all right? And I wrote the source code in here, all right? And I'm going to read it to you, but since I put it in here, some of this I know anyway, all right? So it's expanded under here, the source code of the program. But I want you to know this rule, this archetype inverts the sacred value of structure that is the tool for oppression. See, the reptilian consciousness through the subterranean networks and hybrid bloodlines, the elite, the families like the Rockefellers, the Bushes, amplifies this shadow to harvest loosh from fear and conformity, and the shapeshifter proxies, all right? So remember, there's levels that's in governance use this to enforce smart city grids, globalist agendas, ensuring docile energy drain populace. They want that. They want you to do this. So, but remember, I told you there was two sides. So that's one side. Let's get into the rebellion side that we were just talking about in our story, the Watchers. And for that, if you got the guide, you will go to number 53. Now, I give you a whole lot of stuff on A intelligence, which I call archetypal intelligence, the reptilian stuff, the whole land, how to use the guide daily. When you get somebody you talk to on the phone and, you know, wherever in the bedroom, whatever, just go back and you pick this thing. You're gonna be like, I be the. You're gonna see, and it's in everybody. You know, some people can. This is why when these people tell you you got to do shadow work, some of them do it wrong because you think you got to kill it. No, you got to integrate it. You got to control it because that's what they're controlling. You can't kill it, and why would you? Because it's power. It is the true power. It's just the dark side, right? And so think about it. You and I both can get superpowers. I can do mine for evil. You can do yours for good. But God gave us both superpowers. It's up to you what you're going to use them for. You got the superpower. We got the dark side superpowers. Just use them for whatever you want. Use it for good. So if you go to, I think it's 33, which is on a few hundred. And then in here for proof, I have stuff that's called the 48 proof of serpent shadow. So everywhere in here, you're going to find some kind of artifact, something to prove to you what I said. The serpents was everywhere and they're here, still here. So that help you when you talking to somebody else and they want to pull off some crap. And then you just let them know we ain't doing that today, right? We're not doing it. So let's go to number 33, which is what I call the destroyer, okay? The shadow destroyer. It's almost like what we call the rebel, but it's transforming it. When you see it in the light side, it's cleansing, it's powerful. But when it's operating on that dark side, it's annihilating, sadistic, and uncontrolled. And all of these are based on reptilian stuff. So that's why you see that snake everywhere. And so think about it when you think about that. when you come down to it. Like I said, it's in this guide. You can go to my website, truthversusauthority.com. There is a link in the description of this video. You'll also see those events and everything else. And you see this right here. You see that when you do buy this and when you do get your freedom and your sovereignty, you see the shirt? This is the shirt. And it comes all the way to 5X, you know, whatever. It's the triangle that I was talking about. It's cool. That's it right there. Yeah, the shadows of deception. When you do it, when I call you up, from your receipt, I'm gonna ask for your size. And when I ship out your stuff, I'm gonna give you a free shirt too. And that's $30, $40 value, 35, 26 or whatever. So, because I want, you to know how I appreciate you. So just go and think about it. All right. So anyway, the Shadow Destroyer, which is what we're talking about here on the screen. And again, it's transformative, it's powerful. That's that light side. But when it's on that dark side, people, it's uncontrolled. It's sadistic. See, this archetype of the fallen watchers that I was just telling you about, the program that offers intoxicating thrill of tearing it all down. It's the mask that it promised of a cleansing fire, a powerful reset that will purge the old one. This is what you be hearing. Oh, they're coming back, or this is going to happen, or he's going to return. They've been doing this for quite some time. And so it is one of those deals, right? And so the reset, the purge, the corrupt world allow a new one to begin. And you felt the fire. I know you have. You felt it. The righteous anger of injustice, the desperate urge to burn the whole rotten system to the ground. You've heard chanted crowds believing that destruction was the only path to renewal. But this guide reveals the dark truth behind the impulse. Now, like I said, you don't have to. Some of people is going to walk around and think they know everything that's in here. And if you think you do, and when you run into people say they think they know everything, run away. Because most smart people, intelligent people start realizing the more you learn, the more you think you know you don't know nothing. That's the ones you want to be around, period. But you're going to be able to identify with some of these people. So when you think about this particular shadow unveil, as I come to a close of this particular part of our story tonight, that the Shadow Destroyer operates from annihilating the need to dominate, driven by sadistic desire to reveal in the ruins. The transformation spirals into uncontrolled chaos, using power to justify destruction. See, their agenda is to perpetuate the ruin, resentful of the ability or stability that curtails the frenzy. It's a high, a release, right? But it's not freedom. It's carefully engineered demolition program. And here is the true purpose. I want you to know. And I have it in here called the Reptilian Rule. Since I know it, I'm gonna give it to you the code the best as I can right now. It's more of what I call the code. This archetype inverts the sacred value of cleansing into a tool, and also mystic, right? They can go into a lot of stuff. See, that reptilian consciousness amplifies this shadow to harvest loose from despair and terror. The shapeshifters, once again, is the disaster industry. The political destabilizers used to engineer crisis. This is what we call problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem, get our reaction, and then they come back with the same solution. That's all they wanted in the first place. We've seen people do that. We've seen them do that psychologically, right? And then we're talking about they use this to ensure energy drained populace that feels the shadow's empire destructive appetite. Now, I'm letting you know that, you can think about the terror out there. You can think about all of this stuff. Some people say, oh, I don't live in fear. It ain't got nothing to do with fear. It's acknowledgement. Know thy enemy. Know everything. Know thyself. And when you know the capabilities, you won't underestimate. And a lot of people walking around, I don't remember, and they underestimate, and they don't even have a clue. And they think they know it, but they don't have a clue. And they're laughing at them. And they're laughing, and the world that they're in, they feel that is normal, and they don't have a clue, because it is normal. It is normal for them to feel that drain, to feel the nothingness, to understand and wonder why they're not getting their dreams. But I'm confirming to tell you, you are right to be feeling the way you feel. You wake up in the morning, something ain't right. You know in the morning that when you look at stuff, something just not right. That cosmic side of you just doesn't, something's not feel because you and then some people say, oh, I'm a star child. No, a regular person, you feel it and it's designed. How many people you know watch social media? Watch the one that says, let's give a shout out to my guy at Wide Open Woke Podcast. You go ahead, my man. Y'all watch his podcast and everything else. I'm gonna call him after this, you know, and just let him know because he you know, anyway, if you're gonna do that, he can do it on my channel, you know, this rich channel. No, I love it. But anyway, so what I'm saying is this: you got to understand that when you go to social media, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see somebody that get a new car. And they're going to post the car and they're going to write, look at my blessing from God. They financed it. It's not paid cash for, but look at my blessing from God. And I want you to write on the note 6 months. Just put the word 6. And you can do 666, 6 months, whatever you want. In 6 months, that same post is going to be about all these bills. That blessing turned to something else because they got hook-winked in the beginning. Debt is not the blessing. It's the slavery. Now, I'm not saying that you don't go and treat yourself, but don't be fooled to know that that feeling is going to go away. And this is why they do buyer's remorse. This is why they run commercials on a car you already bought so that you won't get buyer's remorse in that 3-day period to bring it back. But life is like that because they know. And here's the deal. Those reptilians are compatible sexually with women, with everybody. This is why they can walk among us. People ask, Roderick, well, what do they look like? Well, who are they? Well, we look like them. This is why you don't see them every day. We look like them. Think about it. Let's make men in our image, in the likenesses of ourselves. Let's think about it. Think about the splicing. Think about everything they have said of the creation, the DNA. We look like them. Now, here's the benefit of this. They had incredible God-like powers that we call them. They had intuition, knowledge. It is in you too. The gene is there. You got to activate it. But the whole game is to keep us down. Don't let us know we have the God gene or their gene. It's not God. God is something else. He's the great one, right? He is the most high. But those shifty reptilians, they were smart. They was intelligent. They had knowledge. They taught us stars. They taught us astronomy. They taught men all this system because we didn't have none of that. We were like roaches. And when they taught us to breed or made us procreate, because they're living for hundreds and thousands of years and we have a short lifespan. And remember, Adam and Eve at that point was immortal at first. And so when we start breeding, and because we had that gene, we have grew so fast. In 100 years, we wouldn't even flying, people. And we grew like roaches. And they want their planet back. They want their planet back. This was a water planet in the beginning. Go look up your history. We were all massive water. We were born through water. You were conceived through water. Everything is through water. You can't live without water. You are a water lizard and you cannot go too far away from water. Not the desert lizard. They were water lizards when they got here. This planet was water. And it wasn't a sun and now that came the moon. And so it evolved and they're PO'd about it. And now they got their proxies in place. You know, this is why all this stuff is happening. Okay, I know I just took a detour. I'm sorry. I know somebody gonna walk away and say that dude is nuts, but who with me? Don't leave me up here by myself, right? I know there are some people out there watching me now. You're gonna put in the chat and let me know you with me. You get where I'm going, because some people are not hearing it. I know they're not hearing it. I know they're not. That's okay. But I want to know who's with me. Just one of you. If it's two of us, that's a congregation. Y'all know that, right? If it's two of us, that's a congregation. So where's the congregation of this reptilian agenda, right? Who's with me? All right. All right. My godmother, Diana, she's always with me, but thank you. Much love to you. Diana is the godmother of my channel, Truth versus Authority. She's always with me, been with me since I started talking to 5 people. Now it's thousands. All right. So thank you. But Grandma says with me. Someone, Alex is with me. Bronze is with me. Pamela, Screwed, Shay. Oh, thank y'all. Because we got to understand that we all in this together. So there it is. The final coat of the paint is what I want you to understand as I painted my Mona Lisa of conversation. I wanted you to know that this is as wild as it can get, people. This is it. See, the perfect deception of the archetypes build a cage of cold, soul-crushing order. In your misery, you cry out for freedom. And the destroyer arrives answering your prayers with a sweet, orgasmic release of pure chaos. Order or chaos, left or right, compliance or revolution. It's a false choice. It's masterfully scripted dialect designed to keep you locked in a permanent state of war. And you've been failing to win, not because you aren't strong enough, because you are programmed to play the game where both sides are owned by the house. And if you think that is not true, let me see if I have an opportunity to give you a quick lesson of wisdom here. Let me see if I could just do this real quickly. And I'm hoping I can fast enough, fast enough, because I know y'all minds are moving fast, very fast. So let me see what I can do. Let me do this. Let me do this real quick. So let me show you something real quick. Real quick. All right, let me see. Let me go to images. I'm gonna just show you something real quick so that you'll see what I'm talking about. Here we go. Let's let this be what I'm looking for. All right, so I'm going to see if I can show you an image and if I can share my screen real quickly. I'm just going to see if I can share it real quickly. Let's share screen and let's do a window and let's do this one. All right, so real quickly, look over to the right and let me move this thing down. Let me turn this off. All right, okay, see over there to the right? You're going to see that's the Speaker of the House. This is the government game that they play. Now, up there is two fasci symbols. Those are the two symbols that are on the side of the flag. You may can see that and you may can't. I don't know how to blow it up. I wish I could. However, that fascia is the Roman symbol of control. Now, I use it in our branding for collaboration just like they do, but I use it in our protection symbol so that we collaborate with one another, because that's what the meaning is, conquer and collaborate. They have one on each side, meaning the left and the right is on the same side. Okay, that's exactly what they know. They know, but we don't know, or other people don't know. They know that they are on both sides, right? So when we're playing this game, because you are programmed to play the game where both sides are owned by the house, they're doing it. They work for the Corporation of the United States, people, and that's it. And you were trying to choose between two doors in the same prison wall. People do it every time an election come up. Why? Oh, I'm on them. They on the same team. And let me tell you how I knew how to learn this a long time ago. When I started doing business back in the day, you know how you own your business and you got your friends, right? You know this, right? And your friends always come to you, hey man, blah, 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 this and me. And then if you give them a price, they'll go, oh, come on, man, I'm your boy. Why you got to do, or so you hire your lawyer. And I'm going to tell you how this works. And then you hand your friend the contract. And then he says, oh, man, we boys. Why I got to sign this contract? You know what you're supposed to say? You say, hey, man, come on, homie. We go all the way back as kids, man. Yeah, we do. Well, why I got to sign this contract? That's not what I'm talking about. See, my lawyer, he's an asshole. Just sign it and get him out of the way. Because if it was me, I wouldn't worry about it. You know how many people sign that sugar honey iced tea? Oh, yeah, okay, man, we boys, but I'm gonna get him out. Your lawyer, he's a trick. The lawyer works for me. He works for me. You get what I'm saying? He works for me. But this is how they do us. Let's vote for this person, and they're on the same team. And this guy, this Cole, this is how you're gonna stop playing. It's not about choosing a side. It's about seeing the game board itself. It's the knowledge is how you drop the puppet strings. This is the path to what I call symbolic sovereignty. This is how you stop being a piece in the game and become a player, period. You have to have it. And I'm telling you, and there's some of you right now, I'm telling you now, it ain't my job to save the world anymore. It's not it. Just one maybe, or two, or whoever. Just turn people from truth seekers to truth speakers. That's my job. And I've been working on this for months. It's simple, it's worded, you can tie to it, it's easy to understand. It's all broken down psychologically to tap into the archetype of a collective unconscious, right? That we all are part of. And I'm saying, if you want to wake up tomorrow and think you got it that way, go ahead. But the day you understand it, that there's something that this is worth you finding out something. Or you can walk around in the dark. You can walk around in the dark. Go back and look at my journey 5 years ago and where I'm at. You will see a totally different person. This is not it. You will see a video I did. I told you that I'm going to change my reality of how people see me. That this infinite conscious awareness, because we're all that. We are all part of collective unconscious. There's two of you in this audience that can paint a picture from your dream. And both of you on one side of the world will paint the same thing. And you want to figure out how that happens. This is not no portal. This is the collective unconscious that you have, that we all have. We're all part of it because we came from that same DNA, all of us. And we're all actually the hive part of this. They don't want us to know that. They don't want us to tap. It's okay. So visualize the internet. You can't see it. But before the internet came out years ago, people just only did business locally. So think about your mind locally before you get into the conscious awareness, the infinite conscious awareness that we all are tapped into, the collective unconscious, which you don't tap into that. That's the shadow, and that's from the symbolism and all that. But you can get to the subconscious. But think of the internet back then. When people began to go on the internet, they can access things and information from all over the world. That's consciousness of the collective. Just kind of give you that. I know I'm on my soapbox, man. And I know I'm not talking to the right person, but I'm talking to everybody. As much as you're going to listen, that's as much as you're going to listen. Yeah, and I'm with it. And so let's continue so that I can, just kind of give you an understanding. We've seen the code. I talked about it, the perfect prison of the architect, cleansing, fire, and destroyer. I cannot tell you about that. We've seen a false choice that we have been offered in our entire lives, designed to pit us against one another in the game where only the house wins. I just explained that. But once you see the bars, the cage, they are no longer invisible. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you decode the program, it can no longer run you. The spell is broken. I even have a section in here to break each spell. It's called the owl sight. That's why we use the owl, the luminous. It says right here to break the spell. This is how you disarm the manipulator tactics. You ask the guidance, liberate, or whatever. I have that section in here. I have the light shadow section in here. I have the conspiratory connection and symbolism. I have the operators' manifestations, the organization and symbols and systems that they use, the governments, the institutions. I have the reptilian code, the unveiled shadow of that archetype, all the way back to it. It's all there. It's meticulously done. And break the spell or get some of the knowledge. Break the spell. Coast to coast. All right, there we go. Thank you. Give you a shout. All right, so the spell is broken. I'm talking about you, all of us. You get what I'm saying? We are no longer observers. We're passively watching a world built for us, right? We don't need to do that anymore. Not at all. Okay? You are now at the crossroad. The knowledge that you have gained even tonight is a weapon. You can try to forget it. Go ahead. You can try to go back to sleep. Go to sleep. The architect's cage is safe. The destroyer's fire is warm. That's how they want you to feel. Oh, I know enough already. I don't need to invest no more in that. People are walking around right now using the term I'm woke and as sleep as the hell as it was when they begun. There is no amount of time to be talking about I'm woke. You know something you knew more than you knew yesterday, and you call that woke? They are in front of us changing the rules every day. We got to keep up with the rules. The game will never go away. We got to go with the rules. So what you learned 20 years ago It applies foundationally, yes, but evolve with it. Evolve with it. And y'all know my feeling about that. A lot of people in our community who are woke are some of the most prejudiced people. And I'm not talking black and white against racism. I'm talking against other minds that are not where they are yet. That is crazy when you start looking at, oh man, they sleep, I don't want to talk to them. Well, wake their asses up. But you got to remember, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So you can't force it on them. Just give them a little bit. And then they're going to get curious. See, that's what I do. I give enough information where people are curious, enough information they can read, see, and whatever to awaken their curiosity to the possibility that these reptilians are ruling. I already know. I don't need to believe that. But I can't just put it out there. People are not ready for that. They're not. So take the time. The operator is to accept that the true battle is not for the world, but for the mind. This is why we do truth versus authority. It's the mind. And I always like to play this little clip because it's so profound. Here.
Harmony. I think we're being set up for something very serious and very big by some very powerful secret societies that very well could have extraterrestrial or otherworld intelligence guiding it. All over the world, we have accepted the authority as truth rather than truth as the authority.
So there, Jordan Maxwell says it all. He says it all. It's in the mind. They're being guided by something else, and they ain't human, and they haven't been human. And if you go look up all the serpent stuff, you're gonna find out it's not. But then you start looking for them. Now there's a lot of factions. There's some, but it's all still in the shadow of the mind. It's in our minds because I also believe we're in the mind of God too. So it's in the mind, right? And they can do that. But it's also to practice what I call A-intelligence. A-intelligence is archetypal intelligence. That is the first chapters before we get to the archetypes that I teach you in here. I teach you, it's my coin phrase, it's my trademark, archetypal intelligence. So, because we're going to stick with the reptilian archetypes. Remember that. And then we're going to help you block that solar plex because they're hanging up. There's people right now who can see them attached to you. And once I can teach you how to see it. You just got to kind of blur and look over. You will see it, cars driving down the street. You'll see the black parasites right on top of the cars just with them. People having them everywhere. A lot of people do. And then there's people that they used to tell me, well, Roderick, them reptilians are going to get you. Well, they can't find me if I keep my vibration high. That low vibration, that's how they find you. Well, not those, but their proxies on the ground they can see you. They're here. They're the people that carry their waters here. The shapeshifters are here. But we're talking about them other ones, the ones that's in a demonic forms, the ones that really tear you up. And then, like I said, this is the most important factor. This is the holy grail, but this is where the change is going to happen. And all those come together. Now, it'll take me time to ship them out and then get your shirt and all about a week or so, but you'll be okay. We decode the symbols, right? We identify the programs. We starve the one thing that they need to survive, which is our belief, our fear, and our energy, people. We're going to starve them. I want you to understand that. We can't win. We're not trying to fight to win. We're trying to fight to survive so that you'll be better because their game has been here for eons. But you can prepare your seeds. You can prepare your next generation. You can prepare you, and we're going to learn how to use their system to come up. Not just recognizing how they making the money, how they control it. That's fine. We're going to use it though. Imagine that one. And this is why if you come to Dallas or you go to my website, truthversusauthority.com, and you go click on events, you're going to see Truth versus Authority, Knowledge Beyond Reality. Every month, we're bringing in somebody here to Dallas. Dallas is going to be our hub. It's the map. And like I said, if you know who Brother Joseph is at New Life Tools, you know he get down. You know he teaches you the magic. You know he teaches you how to alchemy and all of the guy is deep. He will be talking on November the 20th. Space is limited. We don't have a lot of people there. And in the dinner, you can go to the website, secure your spot tonight. Or at least if you want to chill out with us on Friday, especially if you know somebody in the area and you know who Doc B is, you know how he get down. He coming to get down in Dallas personally. So he's going to be on December, right before Christmas. He actually going to decode Christmas. See, we're going to teach some people some stuff. King Simon in February, Billy in March, January. I just don't have a date. and I have a meeting with him Friday. We do our monthly meeting or 2 weeks meeting, whatever. And then my new book that's on Forbidden Knowledge, that he's the publisher, comes out. It's a book about the unspeakable truth. It is ready to be published in about a week or two. And then me and him will be doing book tours with that too. However, and then Yaya. Then we have Aaron. Y'all know who Aaron is. Go look him up. Aaron Lyons. Go look up Yaya World on Instagram or Facebook, and you're going to see the girl is deep. Both of them. And this is the path to symbolic sovereignty. It is the vow to become immune to their inversions, people, to see the symbols of their control and feel nothing but clarity, to hear their narratives of fear and feel nothing but resolve. See, the serpent race built this reality to be formed. They said it in the Matrix. They see you as compliant livestock, but you are not livestock. You are not a slave. You are a descendant of a divine spark that they have tried for millennia to extinguish. And tonight, you remember that fire. So, like they used to say, oh, don't go look at the serpent, it's evil. The knowledge is there. They got us looking in the wrong direction. That's the whole point. Get them looking in the wrong direction. Create religion, create all of these things so that they don't. While the Vatican, which is about as evil as they come, got Serpent Hall. So there's two sides. Remember, there's two wars. Which side are we on? Now, of course, we're not on the watcher's side. We're on the good side. That's how I'm protected. There's good serpent side. There was one who gave us the knowledge, the light. And the war is with the other ones. And so they have their faction and they have theirs. Which side are you on? And now you get a no. That's all I'm saying. Now go out there and burn the world down, not with chaos, but with consciousness. All I want to do is welcome you to the rebellion, Truth versus Authority. I'm Roderick Martin. It's been a plum, pleasing pleasure, as well as a privilege serving you tonight. Hopefully you got value. Hopefully it's enough that you will go and see Anna's link down in the birthday. Buy her birthday gift. Like I said, some of this stuff is $9, whatever. Come on, guys. I know there's at least 10 people with a heart and everything else who will do it. And it ain't about whatever. I'm talking about whatever. And I'm going to do my part too. But you can. And I'm going to give back to you that if you do that, hit me up on the email, give me your number, call or whatever, send a receipt with your size and address. If you don't want to talk to me and I'm going to send you out, you just tell me on the website which shirt you picked. And some of the shirts cost more than the gift itself. All right. And there's a couple of things that are about equal. And I know you can do it. All right. And if you are one of those persons, put in a chat that you can. Or you will. And let me give you a shout out while we still here before we go, that you will bless this young lady. Let me know if it's you. And let me give you your flowers right now. Let me give you your flowers right now. And that's the point. I'll just wait for a minute. All people want is money and still in the matrix. Yeah. Well, you're right, man. Well, let me put it like this, Omus. Money is not everything. You're correct. Money is not everything. So we want to make sure we understand that. However, I rate it right up there with oxygen. I rate it right up there with oxygen. We still need it though, but we need to do and get it. And because there's a lot of programmed people out there. So let's get the wealth. They're already programmed and we need to know the code. We got the code and take the wealth of the wicked and do something good with it. You get what I'm saying? So we're not going to, we do want to worry about money. It ain't everything, but it's right up there with oxygen in the world that they develop with their rules, right? That's the problem. We got to function within those rules and play the game. You get what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. And we can kind of do that, right? So, but anyway, like I said, I love you. Hopefully that you go to the website, truthversusauthority.com. Let me put it on the screen so you can screenshot. Also, if you want to go to that store, there's a, whatever that called right up there, QR code. You can scan the QR code and it'll take you right to the website, okay? Look for events. If you're going to come to Dallas to any of the events or bless someone in Dallas that you want them to come, then they can teach you the knowledge. Or, again, you can get the guides, the whole kit thing that comes together, all three, And then, of course, I'll call you because you're going to have to enter your name for the shipping stuff, and I'll get your shirt size. And like I said, this particular shirt comes with it. I want you to wear it. I want you to wear it proudly, okay? So that they know you ain't playing it and you can see it. You see the whole thing and just understand that the game that they're playing. They are playing a very serious game, but to them, it's just all game for them anyway. All right. So that's not it. Let me change that. So before I go up there on the screen, go. All right. So that's it. All right. So why am I? Okay, there we go. All right. So right there on the screen, truthversusauthority.com is the website. Let's do it. And yeah, the game is for us too. Yeah, let's do it. Let's learn the rules and play it, and let's do that, right? So anyway, again, I love you. And as you always know how we like to end the show, for those who are watching that has not been told love, that they're being loved. A lot of people went through this whole weekend and not hear somebody say, I love you, like me, you know what I'm saying? And like you, but I'll make sure I know everybody else that we love them. So I want you to put in the chat before we go, put in the video after the video is ended in the comments. I love y'all. I love y'all. Love is the top of it all. This is what we do. Everything is out of love. I do have haters, and they come and they talk about me and whatever, but I still love my haters, especially the ones that come here all the time hating on me. I realize that they're not really hating on me. They're just a fan, but they're critical. And sometimes criticism does, cause some change and stuff if it's true. And like I said, I don't care what anybody say about me, as long as it ain't the truth, right? And so, but tell me something I don't know. But anyway, I love y'all. Put it in the chat. I already see the gods telling everyone else, I love y'all. I love y'all. Let people know who's reading it, not me, but them. When they read it, they want to see I love you. I guarantee you there's 200-300 people in here, and there's people who did not hear those words from nobody in the last 3 days. I know for a fact. I'm one of them. I know for a fact that there's people that is not, and there's people with people that didn't hear. There's people that's taking care of people that didn't hear. There's people that love people that don't love them back, period. But you still can love them, right? You can love them. Happy birthday, Dinah. Y'all give her a shout out for her birthday. I'll give you a call tomorrow anyway. But that's all I'm saying. Let them know. Let them know that, that love, right? Because that's what it's all about, this love and everything else. So with that being said, I will see y'all next Tuesday or Monday on my channel. If you didn't know, I have my personal channel. And let me put it on the screen so you can screenshot it. There we go, right there. You see, we all about reptilians on my channel. Roderick Martin, Truth versus Authority. That's it. So if you want to hear about that, and if you want to go into our uncensored area, you can come to our Patreon, Truth versus Authority Patreon, if that's what you want to do too. But we're all about reptilian people, and hopefully see some of you on the other side. And my guy, wide eyes open shut podcast, my guy. I be butchering his stuff, and I should know his stuff. You know what I'm saying? He like, man, what's going on, dude? But anyway, let me just put it back up here, y'all. Anyway, Wide Open Woke Podcast. Y'all make sure y'all go to YouTube, subscribe to his channel, listen to some of his latest stuff. He really takes you on a more journey of just reality, right? He talks about things just in a basic way of saying, get it or don't get it, right? So y'all go check him out and everything. And anyway, my guy, call me when this thing is over. I want to share something with you on a personal note. So, or I'll reach out to you once I get situated and shut all this down, and pretty much. But anyway, like I said, love you all, and I will see you next week. And we will do that. Take care.
UFOs, UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomena, unidentified aerial phenomenon. Who are they?
Where are they from, and what is their intent?
All questions that immediately come to mind with the mention of UFOs.
A Pentagon report is detailing a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, more than 350 since 2021. Many of them are explained as being drones, birds, or weather events, but about half of them remain unexplained.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
Oh my gosh.
They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
This video taken by the Navy showing what he describes as pyramid-shaped UFOs flying over the USS Russell off the San Diego coast in July of 2019. The Pentagon has since confirmed that the video is authentic.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Late this afternoon, a bulletin from New Mexico suggested that the widely publicized mystery of the flying saucers may soon be solved. Army Air Force officers reported that one of the strange discs had been found and inspected sometime last week. Our correspondents in Los Angeles and Chicago have been in contact with Army officials endeavoring to obtain all possible late information. Joe Wilson reports to us now from Chicago. The Army may be getting to the bottom of all this talk about the so-called flying saucers. As a matter of fact, the 509th Atomic Bomb Group headquarters at Roswell, New Mexico, reports that it has received one of the discs that landed on a ranch outside Roswell. The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazil is the man who discovered the saucer.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
More people are coming forward with their own sightings.
Videos recorded by U.S. Navy personnel have added a new layer of evidence to the current national debate about UFOs.
Right at that moment, I saw what looked like 5 lights flying in formation in kind of an inverted check mark.
The NASA independent study team did not find any evidence that UAP have an extraterrestrial origin. We don't know what these UAP are.
The mysterious flying objects are still a mystery. NASA will continue investigating them and has appointed a director of UAP research.
Technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.